Hi, welcome to this look at the May weather prospects. April was a cold and frosty month. It was also a very dry one in most of the UK. So I think the key question perhaps as we head forward through the coming weeks is, will there be more rain around? I'm going to begin by taking a look at the picture across Europe and the North Atlantic. This sequence starts at 12 GMT on Saturday the 1st of May. What we can see is there are some showers over the UK, and as we head through the coming days, it's a much more unsettled picture. Here we are on Bank Holiday Monday, and there's a deep area of low pressure steaming across the country, bringing strong winds and outbreaks of heavy rain. Quite an unseasonal picture in much of the UK, to say the least. Once it clears away eastwards, colder air moves back down from the north, and it's a showery theme. Then through the rest of the week, there are signs of it staying unsettled there, with further areas of low pressure pushing in from the Atlantic, bringing longer spells of rain and strong winds again to parts of the country. I'll show you a couple of air mass charts to accompany the sequence. This one is at 06 GMT on Wednesday the 5th of May. So the first area of low pressure is pushed away eastwards, and we've got this cold feed shown by blues moving down from the Arctic across the entire country. Pretty chilly still. By Saturday the 8th of May, another area of low pressure is moving across the southern half of the country. Greens there are showing a less cold air mass temperatures associated with it, with the blues on its northern edge. But with cloud, wind and rain around, it wouldn't be feeling particularly warm anywhere. So the first week, not really looking very seasonal at all, but more rain in most of the country than there has been in recent times. I'll show you a couple of other charts from deterministic models for 10 days ahead. This first one is from the European model, and it's a fairly mixed picture. There's areas of low pressure here, and there's high pressure to the north having some influence, but all in all, it's looking changeable and not particularly settled. The Canadian model at 10 days also looks fairly changeable. There's an area of low pressure down here to the south. The Azores high pressure is beginning to build northeastwards. That would hold out the hope of something better if it continues strengthening. It's often one of the main features during settled and dry periods in the United Kingdom. Often when we get a longer period of warm weather in the summer, it's due to the Azores high building northeastwards. But it's still some way off there, but it is possibly something to keep an eye on as we head through the coming days to see whether other model runs really develop that idea or not. I'll take a look at the Ensemble data now. This is from the European model. It goes out, these charts go out, plots go out to 10 days ahead. This one's for London, showing air mass temperatures, and what we can see is they're low to begin with, -4. They pick up a little bit, but they're staying low through the first week, below the average, what you would expect for this time of year. Then through the second week, for signs of them picking up at least a little bit. They still don't look particularly exciting for May. So a cold start, then some signs of them recovering at least a little back towards the average, perhaps a little bit above the average at times. Take a look at the same plot but for Glasgow. It's the pattern's similar, but it's at a lower level. We can see they're very, very cold to begin with, and then through the second week, the air mass temperatures do recover, but again, nothing exciting for the time of year. I'll now show the 16-day GEFS ensemble data, charts for London. Air mass temperatures on the top, and what we can see there through the first week, they're below. Most of the runs in the ensemble are well below the 30-year mean, which is shown by the thick black line. But then from about the 8th or 9th of May onwards, things are changing. What we see is, I think it's what we're seeing here is a minority of the runs are going significantly warmer, and those are pulling up the average towards the 30-year mean. I think it could be a little bit misleading because a lot of the runs there are probably staying below that 30-year average. So So all in all, it's not, I wouldn't say it's looking particularly warm, but as I say, there are some warmer runs in the mix, so there is uncertainty there. If we look at the rainfall plot, which is the lower part of this, we see through the first 9 or 10 days, there's an ongoing risk of rain, quite wet at times. And then through the middle third of the month, from about the 11th, there's still rain spikes appearing as we go forwards there, but there are fewer of them, and it's suggesting an increasing chance of drier interludes. Again, that's how it's not looking settled, but just a greater chance of some drier interludes. I'll jump up to Glasgow and show the same chart. What we see across the top half with the air mass temperatures is they stay below the 30-year average, really more or less through the entire period, throughout these 16 days. What I would read into this is that we've got the cold air more firmly embedded across the northern half of the country, with warmer air at times, as we saw on the London plot, pushing into southern and central areas, but maybe not making it up to northern England, Scotland, perhaps not Northern Ireland either. So colder as you head further north. In terms of the rain risk here, or I should say precipitation probably, because if you look across at the very bottom, the snow row I've highlighted has some quite high numbers there, 11, 22. 22 suggesting over a 60% chance of snow falling, not settling, but falling. So it could just be a few flakes mixed into a shower, but it's a high risk for the time of the year. And the rain and the precipitation spikes, there are plenty of them going forwards. Perhaps again through the middle third of the month, there's just a hint there of some drier interludes beginning to develop, but all in all, pretty changeable or unsettled pattern. The pressure data table for 16 days is also quite interesting. This is the York plot. What we see is greens, and mainly greens and some blues in the first 9 or 10 days, indicating low pressure or lower pressure being dominant. And then towards the end there, from around about the 10th, the 11th, there are more oranges and yellows appearing. Those are runs in the ensemble which are going for higher pressure. Again, it's offering some evidence of the chance, at least, of drier interludes developing through the middle third of May. So that's the first half of the month covered. I'll now take a look at the second half, and I'll say straight away the signals are always weak when we look this far ahead, and on this occasion they're extremely weak. There really isn't a strong signal showing through from the longer range models. This is the GEFS 35-day plot for London, and it's for 2 metre temperature one. I've boxed out the first half because that's already covered with the other shorter range models. So it's the second half that we're really looking at. The black line running pretty much through the middle there is the 30-year average, 2 metre temperatures. And I think the point to make is, as I say, it's running through the middle, hence it's suggesting that most of the model runs in this ensemble are going for close to average temperatures. There are some signs of it being a bit warmer at times, a bit cooler at times, but taken over that second half of the month as a whole, there doesn't look to be a big anomaly showing its hand there. This is the surface level pressure chart from a GEFS 35 again for London. I've blocked out the first half once more. And looking at the second half of the month, what we can see is around about the 20th, pressure's increasing, close to 1,020 millibars, so it's a little bit above the average. So there is a fairly weak signal there for a drier period, around about just after the middle of the month. And then as we head towards the end, what you can see is the red line showing the average of all the runs. It's dipping back down. Therefore, the average pressure from all the ensemble runs is going down a little bit. It's not particularly low, but it's pointing probably towards very average conditions for the time of the year. So we've got that potential for a drier period around between maybe the 15th and the 20th, somewhere around there, then perhaps more changeable again later on. Taking a look at the same charts for Glasgow, 2 metre temperatures here. On the whole, I think the reds through the second half of the month there, the red lines indicating the mean from the model, are slightly below the 30-year average. So there's a tendency here for it to be a little bit colder still relative to the average as you head further north. Pressure, it's a similar pattern as the London plot. We can see around about the 16th to the 20th, there are signs of pressure being a little bit higher than the average. And then beyond that, it probably dips away again later in the month, once more suggesting the possibility of it becoming more changeable as we head through the last third of May. These are the air mass temperatures aggregated over a given week. And you can see the UK just here. This is for 7-day period beginning Friday the 14th of May. Blues, for example, up there indicate a negative anomaly, so taken over a week as a whole, air mass temperatures are below the average, and the reds, for example, down here, indicate a positive anomaly. The UK, just around here, is not, there's nothing really showing its hand. It's not, it would suggest close to average 850 HPA air mass temperatures. Jump forward a week, so now starting on Friday the 21st. Once more, there isn't really much of a signal showing its hand here. There's perhaps a little bit of pink shading just there to the northwest, which may be just slightly above average, but there's no strong signal here for anything to be deviating much from where we would expect it to be. So much more average would be the message to take from the second half of May. So to summarize things, week 1 is going to be quite unsettled and cold for early May. Showers or longer spells of rain are expected in all parts of the country, and there will still be some cold nights where skies clear. They bring an ongoing risk of ground frost, particularly in the north. Week 2, it's staying generally changeable and often rather chilly. Further showers or longer spells of rain. There is a chance of warmer and drier interludes later on in the south, but generally it's pretty mixed. The second half of the month has no strong signal. Confidence is always low, and on this occasion it's very low at this range. There are some indications which are tentative of a drier period developing early on, so perhaps between the 15th and the 20th of the month. Thereafter it becomes more mixed once again. Temperatures probably close to the average when taken over the half-month period as a whole. So there we have it. It's quite a mixed month on balance. That's what the computer models are suggesting at the moment. The unsettled period through the first week, probably the second week for at least much of it. Often cold during the first half. Then through the second half, temperatures closer to the average, maybe not high enough to offset the early start, so the early chill, sorry. So I would suggest that taking over 31 days, temperatures are more likely to be slightly below the average than above it. Rainfall probably above it too, because of the potential for very unsettled conditions during the first couple of weeks. So thank you for watching this. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Thanks now. Bye.